Now today, let's jump to the topic. We are talking about your car and fluids. Your car and fluids. Your car and fluids. Over here on this channel, we want to give you information that will enhance your motoring experience, because we know, say, if you know a lot about cars, you are either going to cry or your pocket is going to cry,
or both.
In fact, when your pocket is crying, you also the side effect is yourself, you cry. So whatever it is, there'll be a crying.
Or crying.
We don't want you to cry. So we bring you information that will enhance your motoring, so that you don't hit your car, you don't cry, you don't get heartache and stuff like that. So please make sure you are subscribed. Make sure you are subscribed. Now, yes, hello. So we are talking about your car and fluids. Your car and fluids. Yes. So Salom, why are fluids? Okay, so let me take this question first. Okay. When we talk about cars, okay, what has fluids got to do with cars?
Okay, so first off, we have to understand that a car is a machine, and it's a mechanical machine, to be specific, which means there are a lot of moving parts, which means there will be friction, which means there's so many things that are going on in the car. You see the car and you hear vroom, then it's just going everything. If they show you the number of components that are moving and the things they are doing, you will be shocked. But they have all been cased and covered so beautifully that you only see. So it's these fluids that cause them to move smoothly. Okay, it's these fluids that cause them not to wear out. It's these fluids that protect them. It's these fluids that cool them, pretty much like the human body. You see, we have fluids in us, and we also take in fluids. Without these fluids, you realize that actually you can't last for a period of time.
Okay.
After a period of time, you either have to be hospitalized or you die.
Okay.
You get in the same way. If the car doesn't have these fluids, it's going to die.
Okay.
Or to go to the shop.
Okay, so it'll be like the scenario where you give, like a human being. We have water, we have blood, we have other kinds of enzymes and other things. Yes. Oh, science for enzymes. Yes. Yeah. So you're all there. Okay. In the same way, your car is also made up of so many different components, and now some of these components depend on some kind of fluid. So today we are going to put a lot of attention on the fluids, the different kinds of fluids that your car has, and how you have to take care of them so that your car can keep taking care of you. So Salom, number one. So number one, yes. So
for me, growing up, anytime this leading to the first fluid. Growing up, anytime my parents are going to work or they are moving out of the house, the first thing they let you check is kocheki isune wakano. And they are referring to the coolant, the engine coolant.
Yeah,
that's the first fluid. And I wouldn't say it's the most important, but it's actually one of the important fluids in the car.
Yeah,
and that's the engine coolant. Okay, and you'll be asking what does this fluid do? Yeah, and it's very simple. So it keeps the engine cool. Okay, it keeps the engine cool. It stops it from overheating, and it stops it even at certain scenarios. It stops it from freezing. And that's when you're in the very cold countries.
Very cold countries.
It stops it from freezing, and when you're in the very hot countries like Ghana, it stops it from overheating. Okay. So that's the first fluid we are talking about, the engine coolant. Okay. So engine coolant, it cools your engine. Yes. Combustion engines, or any engine that uses petrol, diesel, LPG gas, they all generate a lot of heat. In fact, whatever thing your car is being powered by, some way, somehow, will generate some sort of heat. Coolant is a common denominator in all manner of different proportion of cars. I mean, when we even talk about EVs, they have coolants that cools the batteries. Yes, I remember when these hybrids came, a lot of people were having issue with their hybrids in Ghana because a lot of mechanics didn't know that the batteries
also
to be cool.
We're supposed to be cool, you know. So anytime you mess up the cooling system, it affects your battery, and battery degradation and all those things sets in. And it's a pain, you know. We had our own stories. Hey, we'll share those ones another day. Yeah, so cooling, very, very, very important to your car. And you mentioned that in some places the coolant has antifreeze properties. Okay, yes. But here that we know have that kind of, you know, environment. You know, we are not in that area, in the tropics. Yes. So 365 24/7, we have very warm weather here. Exactly. You know, I'm sure we don't need antifreeze. No, but what are some of the qualities that a coolant should possess? I mean, you started by talking about water. Okay, and I will quickly say that yes, back in the day it was water, but today water does not belong. Exactly. Why is it that water does not belong in the car? Okay, so in the cooling system of the car. So
this is the reason why water is not supposed to be used. The reason why now we have dedicated coolant is because one is the characteristics. Okay, what makes water, what makes coolant. So now you realize that water has a point where it boils and it evaporates. Okay, but the coolant boiling point is different from the water's boiling point. Okay, and secondly, the coolant has been designed in a way that it doesn't rust. It prevents rust. Okay, so it could be in for God knows how long, and you won't have any problem with rust. Okay, but water easily can make material rust. So some of these properties that cause, and also the cooling property, as I said, the boiling point of water and the boiling point of the coolant is different. So what this one can cool, water can cool, the coolant will be able to cool and cool better because of how it's been designed.
In fact, I've actually seen some brands of coolant on the market that they are advertising that they are designed for the tropics. Yes, so it means that they have some added properties. Exactly. You know, that works better for Exactly. So yes, don't go and buy antifreeze.
I beg you.
Here we know
the temperature. You see, the temperature, the boiling point of that one is also different. Yes, from the tropics one. Yes. So if you go and buy it, you realize that.
So for that one, it has a boiling point and a freezing point.
Exactly.
Yes. So it almost doesn't freeze. Yes. 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 It's a good property to have, but we don't need that.
We don't need it.
We rather need properties that will enhance the cooling.
Exactly.
Because the other thing too is that in those places too, you need a car to come up to temperature, and that also works together with the thermostat, which we'll talk about another time. Today we are not talking about cooling; we are talking about the fluids. So another day that we'll talk about the cooling system. That is when we'll talk about the thermostat. But may catch them mechanic bia ka say yi thermostat ni feel car ma ka say oh ye bonyo mechanic
run for your life.
All right, guys. All right, so that was a coolant. Yes, an engine coolant. So that is number one. What is the next fluid that we need in the car?
The next fluid we need in the car is the engine oil.
Engine oil.
That's another thing too. Growing up, they make me check all the time. What do you take? Check is and the oil.
The
engine oil.
So the engine oil is important. Like the blood of your car.
Exactly.
It carries the very life of your car. Yes.
Important. So important.
Okay. So the oil we are saying is a lubricant. What does it do?
Okay. So it's
because lubricant they can never be bank for thing.
I was actually going to make a face that it lubricates.
Pardon me, guys. Yes. So this one there is on you. Yes.
Okay. So the engine oil it does so many things. Like it is what you could say that killing two birds with one stone. But this is like killing maybe like 3 or 4 birds with one stone. So in the engine, there's a lot of up and down. I mean,
moving parts
again. As my brother said, maybe we'll talk about the engine in itself. So you realize that there's a lot of motion or movement going on. Now, what these things cause, the side effects of some of these things is that it causes friction, and friction causes heat. Okay, so aside the bombing, since let me not scare people. Aside the power being produced inside, right? You understand when I say bombing, right? So aside the power that is produced inside, right? There's also heat generated by the metals touching each other.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, aside the heat it produces, if there's no lubrication there, what it will do is that it will be making noise. There'll be a big tree, so wear and tear.
Yes.
You understand? It will wear quickly, and before you realize, Charlie, your engine is just in trouble. So what it does is it lubricates the pistons when they are moving. It cools the engine. Okay, people don't know, but it cools the engine.
Yes.
Okay, and it causes it stops wear and tear from happening, and even it stops noise, because when there's this thing, we say if
when
two
metal on metal
contact, you see the noise, the screeching noise it makes is very it stops that. Okay, so
awesome.
So that's what it does.
Awesome. So that is engine oil. And when it comes to engine oil, I know you hear best at 3 shoes. Let's talk about engine oil.
True.
Because the things that people say,
Hey.
Now somebody is saying that if you the car is getting older, you have to change the oil and use a heavier oil.
Why would the person think that?
I don't know.
Like, what is the reason?
And this is not the first time I've actually heard people say it face to face, and now somebody mentioned it. I think it was somebody's post, and I went to comment, and the person was, in other words, challenging me. I didn't say anything. I just left it like that. Why would you? Do you understand? Now, sorry, Salom. I'm taking the action away from you.
Just take
look,
it away.
Engines are built according to specification, what they expect the engine to do, the expected lifespan, how they want the car to respond, how the kind of engine. We have naturally aspirated engines, we have forced induction engines, we have interference engines. There are so many different things, and based on that, the engineers will say, okay, this is the kind of oil that we are supposed to use
for the car.
Okay, now there are reasons. I'm not going to go into details with lubrication. We will talk about that in another show, because like I said, it's very, very broad. Okay, but I just want to demystify. Okay, please, it doesn't make any engineering sense if you say that as a car is wearing, engineer has designed the car that it should use this oil. Okay, in fact, if you are doing the right thing, using the proper oil, the car can be driven for many years with very little to almost nothing. Now in Ghana, I'll say that we don't drive cars long enough here.
At all. We
don't, because of the road and a whole lot of other things. A lot of times the body and the chassis of the car wear out way before the engine wears out.
That's true.
A lot of times, if somebody's engine dies in Ghana, it means that the person is not maintaining the car well. And some of these things that we are talking about, a car is not even 100, and you are telling me that the car must go to other places. They drive the car over 250,000 miles, not even kilometers, miles.
It's still in
and
good
it's still
shape.
Yes, and if it's a good car, it should be okay.
Shape, yeah.
You get it. You will experience, Masa, for you to come to a place where you change your engine, usually it should be over 500,000. That's 500,000 miles before you. People have driven cars on that. The cars have done 1,000,000 miles on one engine. So if you are doing the proper servicing and you are using the proper fluids and everything that's supposed to be done, a lot of times the things that spoil our engines is not the oil, especially if you are using the correct oil. There are other things like the fuel. In recent time, we've been hearing about fuel, the quality of the fuel, because you see, engine is the petrol is what burns, okay, and we have things like detonation. You get it. We have things like detonation. If the petrol that you are using is not at the right quality, okay, or grade, should I say, the grade, the octane level is not at the level, the burning power of the petrol is not the level that the engine has been designed for, you have things like detonation, which will spoil your engine faster. And that is what recently people have been talking about with Honda Civics, Honda CRVs, and Hyundai Santa Fe's and things. All this spark plug Sika and also after a few weeks, the whole spark plug is eaten away. These are iridium spark plugs.
Wow.
Iridium spark plugs. Iridium spark plug. When you use it, you shouldn't see a deposit on it like that.
Yeah.
It doesn't get spoiled like that. So these are some of the things.